Hello everyone, once again this is Gopal and I welcome you all to my YouTube channel Gopal Mathematica, and today the day is very special to me as the guest for today's conversation is a visionary, a leader, a great teacher that India has ever produced. And coming from a small village having around 300 people from the southern India and covering thousands of miles for the students to almost every corner of the country, and uh, that changed the attitude of learning with a very handful of committed teachers when it started long back 30 years. And these are very few lines which I'm speaking, but one can write a book on his journey. And he is very close and near to the heart of student community, and he has been a foundation to motivation for all of us. And he is none other than the teachers of teachers, S. Kumaresan sir. And uh, uh, yeah, it's a great privilege for me to invite you to speak here in my channel, sir. It's a dream come true for me, as I really look up to you, and I really thank you for accepting my sincere invitation. Thank you, Professor Kumaresan. Thank you so much for coming to my channel.
Thank you, Gopal, for a very kind introduction. Yeah. I also was looking for having an interview with you because I think you asked about almost a year ago, possibly 8 to 9 months ago, at least. Yeah,
Yes.
sure.
Thank you so much, sir, for agreeing and taking out some time for me.
Yeah.
So today's conversation is like I have few set of questions. I found that you are the right person to answer these questions, and I have been part of MPTS, uh, uh, not as a student but as a mentor. By your grace, that you have allowed me to be a mentor in 2020 camp, and later on, even I was there in 2021 and 2022. So
Great.
thank you so much for allowing me for so many times, and even it helped me to improve myself along with students. Thank you so much. And the improvement which I have gained from MPTS, that I have been also motivating to my school students in this way, in this methodology of MPTS.
Right.
Thank you so much. So,
Thank
yes. So I have few set of questions, sir, which I'll be asking you, and in every possible way that you can answer, please ask it.
Sure. Thank you. Yeah.
So, so very basic things which I'm going to start from. That is the first question that everyone wants to know. That what was the first thing that inspired you to learn mathematics, and who has been the source of inspiration for your learning?
I wouldn't know whether there is any source of inspiration, but my interest in mathematics was initiated by my cousin. She was, I think, 2 years elder to me. When I was in third standard, I bought the book on mathematics. And third standard, those days, I mean, it will start with fractions. And she taught me, but she will only give me algorithm, right? How to add, how to subtract, or whatever it is, multiply, etc. But that intrigued me. then I started doing mathematics on my own. So that I think was the greatest thing. It gives me a lot of confidence. Okay, her initiation into these fractions. And it may not be out of the place to say the knowledge of fractions or the introduction of fractions is one of the most, perhaps the first stumbling block for students. Okay. And up to earlier, it's okay. Addition, multiplication table, you learn by heart, learn to apply. Those are all okay. But when it comes to fractions, what we what I find is usually taught less an algorithm. You do this, you do that, you'll get sum, or you get subtraction, you can multiply, you can divide, etc. Fraction. But students are at a loss why we are doing such things. Okay. Till then, everything was okay because they had their finger, they can
Mhm.
count, add something, they can always learn something. But this one it looks mysterious. So somehow I survived that because being just 2 years elder to me, she was also okay. I don't think she would have given me any kind of insight into fractions, but somehow I must have got something and I learned on my own. And ever since till up to my higher secondary, as soon as I buy the book, even before the courses start, within a month I will finish all the. I will read on my own, solve all problems. Okay, so I will be very comfortable. So that perhaps is one thing which it gave me a lot of confidence in mathematics. So I owe this to my cousin. Her name is Gunavati. I think in some other context also I refer to her. Yeah.
So you mean to say that your source of inspiration and your motivation has been in your family itself?
Yes. Yes. The
Okay.
next one was from my grandfather, maternal grandfather. That's my mother's father. And I think it was those days there was what was called two mathematics. One is general mathematics, another is composite mathematics. Composite mathematics is for people who want to go for science stream. Okay.
Okay.
And that will, in those days, we'll have something like 100 odd theorems in Euclidean geometry with so-called axioms and then proofs. Okay. Which of course nowadays, last 3 decades, people are missing, maybe more than 3 decades, 4 decades. Those days it was there. And my grandfather, who was also only up to high school graduate, he told me about that. Eh, okay, those problems are usually known as riders in those days. So he will say those riders are very interesting, and you just have to draw picture, then you will get a, you get a solution, etc. So that intrigued me. So I looked at geometry, Euclidean geometry, and I used to solve lot of problems, almost all problems in the book, and something more also possibly from other books. So that is a second source of inspiration for me. That is my maternal grandfather. His name is AP Sambandam. Okay, I'm just avoiding the cast name. Okay, but those days he used to be say Sambandam something. Yeah.
That's truly inspiring, sir, to listen these memories. So the second question which I have is, how was your childhood? I mean, as a student in the maths classroom, how was young Kumaresan?
Sorry. Yeah, it was very interesting because, as I said, when I was in high school, I mean, even when I was in what you call primary school, we used to call it elementary school in my days. Primary school, the teachers spotted that I'm good. Okay, in general, in everything, especially in mathematics too.
Mhm.
Okay, so there is nothing much very interesting. But as I said, when I came to higher secondary, where Euclidean geometry, etc., were all taught, my teacher will say that as though it's a very difficult thing and do that. He will give a problem, he will ask us to solve. I will not do anything. Okay. And he used to get irritated. He asked me, why you are not doing anything? I said, I already done it 8 months ago, 7 months ago. So I will open my notebook and show it to him. So it was, it was all, I mean, immature level. So it was fun, great fun to show. It is a kind of show off. But at a young level, you don't understand such thing. I did all those things. So that way it was very good. Yeah.
So it was really funny. But how could someone be so keen about the subject and beforehand, like as you said, 8 months or 9 months before you solve those problems without any teacher's guidance? How this can be possible for a young student without having any idea about the chapter?
Oh, no, I don't think I'm a genius or anything. I'm kind of, by birth, I'm very curious guy. Okay. I always want to learn. If something intrigues me, I want to learn why it happens. Okay. That way, I think mathematics gave me a lot of avenues to explore myself. Okay. And another thing is, I used to have, perhaps I still have, a single-minded focus. If I get into something, almost 24 hours. Okay, you may think it's an exaggeration, but I don't think. Okay, almost 24 hours, my mind will be thinking about that only. Okay, this is a kind of an obsession. Okay, what? But it is very single focus. Okay, that also helped me because yeah, because I still believe people who have a great focus, concentration power. Okay, they will get a lot more ideas. Okay, because your subconscious mind keeps working on that without your own at a very subconscious level. You may not be aware of that consciously, but then that's when people think that they got inspirational ideas, or Namakal Devi gave me the idea or some sort of thing, but actually it's your subconscious mind gave that idea because it has been working at a deeper level. Yeah. So, but believe me, I'm just an ordinary guy. I mean, I don't think I'm a kind of extraordinarily brilliant or genius or anything. Okay. My only thing is curiosity and hard work. Yeah.
It's so kind of you that you said all this, but we know what kind of potential and what Kumaresan sir has done for all of us, and we are blessed to have you. And India is even blessed to have you in our country. So
I think it's too much to say. Okay.
no, no,
India
sir.
has produced a lot more people who are much better in
But
every aspect, not only in mathematics,
but
in every
we
other
but
aspects.
we students believe this that MTTS has done a lot for us, and you have been the main route for MTTS.
No,
That
no, that I
that
agree
has
with.
to be
Uh,
appreciated for
that
every
I
time.
agree because you see, even if somebody helps me for something, then I remember him for well, right? If assuming that I have a sense of gratitude, okay, I will remember him whenever occasion comes. I will thank him. So that way, my students may be thanking me. Yeah, but I don't know whether I'm India is fortunate to have me or any such thing. But anyway, yeah, I have done my bit.
Thank you so much, sir. So moving to the next question, what were the other areas of interest that you had in your school days
Oh, see, those
apart from
days,
studies?
yeah, that's somewhat unfortunate in some sense. Uh, I mean, it is not a sense of arrogance if I say that there are not good peers, okay, because I'm coming from somewhat semi-rural town. There are not good, okay, lot of good people. So I think for anybody's growth, you need some kind of a good peers, okay. So you, in some sense, there is a challenge. Oh, he is also good. I have to be good, better, or some sort of thing. So unfortunately, I didn't have that kind of thing. So with the result, as I said, whenever I bought something like maths book or something, I finish it. Other things I can learn easily. Okay. Then I got bored. I was reading only a lot of Tamil novels, other books, all magazines under the sun. Okay. I was a voracious reader. Whereas with the good peers or good setup, then I would have discussed a lot more mathematics or whatever it is, okay, at a very highly intellectual level, so that I would have been better than what I am today. Okay. And that thing, that's why I keep saying that even in MTTS, forget about our teaching. It may be good, okay, it may be inspiration. But the best thing the MTTS participants should be thankful for, there is a group of 50, 60, 100 odd people who are like-minded, who are interested in mathematics, who are ready to discuss mathematics any time of the day. Okay. That atmosphere for 1 month is a fantastic. It's like a dynamite. Okay. I wish I had such a thing in my days. Yeah. So as I said, going back to your question, yes, I was wasting my time, if you want to say that, by reading a lot of magazines, okay, which I find with at this age, I find it was waste of my time. I should have used it much better in some other way, channelize my efforts in some other way. Yeah, but I was a voracious reader. In fact, you will not find me without book at any time those days. Yeah, in fact, if you want me to reminisce, my grandmother and mother, etc., used to say, you can't leave Kumaresan at home and leave. Even if a thief comes and in front of him he steals something, he may not notice because he will be reading a book. Okay. So that much of focus I had, which was true. Many times people I have found it. When I read, I don't notice anything else. Yeah. So that was my hobby. And of course, there's, with my cousins, etc., during holidays, we used to play, but no organized, some kind of organized game. Let's say any kind of game as village boys will play.
So the next is, can you please tell us some memories of your college days and school, university days?
So college days also, as I said, it was okay. I can tell you something very interesting about my BSc. See, BSc when I got, I think if the first 2 years were essentially like trigonometry, coordinate geometry, differential calculus, integral calculus, lots of such things. I was getting bored because there was no conceptually challenging things there for me. For example, analytic geometry or coordinate geometry you call, I found it to be very boring. You think it's geometry, but you write an equation, a quadratic equation, then you get a collection of coefficients, you get a polynomial expression one side, left-hand side, another polynomial expression perhaps on the right-hand side, and prove these are equal. That kind of, jugglery, symbolic manipulation too much, with which doesn't give you much of a geometry. For example, even today, I find that many students who pass out, even when they pass out to BTech also later, they don't even understand what are the focal properties of conics, which is the most important properties, and it's used everywhere in today's life. So we generate such courses which have no bearing, which doesn't tell you the inner beauty of the subject. Essentially, some kind of very competitive exam, very, very tough question you ask. Okay, you should keep on solving something within. Don't worry about what it means geometrically. And same thing with the trigonometry. Okay, there used to be a book modeled after EST Loney's 1909 book, possibly 1909 or before 1930 at least, trigonometry book. Okay, there will be thousands of trigonometric things. Okay, some infinite series using trigonometry, using various things and prove something, go to something. Okay, and it's almost on half a course. Okay, I did all those things, but I got bored. There is nothing. But today, I believe it's a waste of time. Basic trigonometry you should understand. Solution of triangles, how it is used, you understand. After that, all those identities are useless because the most important identity, e power I theta equal to cos theta plus I sin theta, encompasses, includes every damn thing which I want to say about trigonometry. Okay, so it's a waste of time. Okay, just because it was there when they were understanding such things, they did a lot of such things. We are thrust upon such. For example, nowadays you don't see such trigonometry courses except basic trigonometric identity, cos of a plus b, cos of sine of a plus b, some such thing, cos 2a, sine 2a, right? Very basic things, and solution of triangles. That also I do not know. I hope it's there. Okay, that's it. And calculus also, lot of problems. Okay, so okay, good. I did. In fact, I solved problems from my textbook and from Shanti Narayan, and there was another book by Gorak Prasad or somebody. So all those books I solved. But At that time, I was actually very much interested in Tamil and English literature. So I was reading a lot of things. Our library, I am from Annamalai University. It was a fantastic library. So I was reading a lot of such things concerning Tamil and English literature. So I was thinking of quitting mathematics, going for literature. The only thing was I was wondering whether I should go for Tamil literature or English literature. Yeah. But these things I keep repeating it many times whenever I reminisce. But people should know, okay, these are all phases in one's life. Yeah. So I was about to quit mathematics when I was in BSc. Okay. And the things changed in the third year of BSc because it, as I said, it's a university. There was master's degree students and some students who were pursuing PhD. They told me that, they already knew I was good. Okay. And they tried to tell me that, in the third year, there is a tough subject called real analysis. Okay. And I don't think if you don't go to the classes regularly, you will not understand because to be honest, I bunked a lot of classes also in my BSc. Okay. Because I got bored. So they told me about analysis. Then I thought, how can any subject be difficult? So I started reading a book on my own and understood. Then it brought me back to mathematics. Okay. So if I continue to be in mathematics, I think I owe it to real analysis.
And even every student in MTTS and in your YouTube channel, they all enjoy your real analysis lectures. So, because everything is in front of our eyes, not only the equations, not only the concepts, every geometrical aspect of that subject can be visible to us through
Yeah.
your lectures and through your classes.
Yeah. See, that's the way I learned in my BSc also, because the book which I chose was a book by E.G. Phillips. I think it's called A Course of Analysis or some sort of thing. Those days in early 70s or late 60s also, the English Language Book Society, ELBS, used to bring British authors' books at a very subsidized rate. The book will cost about 7 rupees, 8 rupees, 9 rupees or some sort of thing, but very good quality paper. Okay. So this book was available, so I read it. But with hindsight, it was a bad book. But but with the same hindsight, I think it was a boon also. Because the book didn't have much of a picture, no geometry, nothing. He kept saying something, pure logical kind of thing. But since I ought to understand, because if you remember from high school days, Euclid geometry, I liked so much. So I used to think geometrically. So I used to understand everything, writing number line, drawing it, and trying to understand what it means, etc. So of course, I may not have the clarity which I have today, but that helped me. I, I was forced to think geometrically to understand what he wrote. It looked like pure algebra and some kind of an essay kind of thing. Okay, a proof will be like this, very densely packed paragraph. So it was not a good book, perhaps, in my opinion. In fact, later I came to see Shanti Narayan when I joined TAFR. That would have been much easier if I had started with. But I may not have thought about the geometric way of looking at it if I had gone through Shanti Narayan, because it's all well explained logically, so it would have been easier for me to understand it rather than drawing picture and try to understand what it means.
Okay.
So there is always a pros and cons.
So means that book actually helped you to evolve more in real analysis and come into the path of mathematics.
Yeah.
Stay here.
Yeah. I won't say that book, but the subject.
Okay.
Yeah, the book helped me to evolve my own method of understanding analysis using geometry. Yeah, right. So it is a kind of indirect. It's a catalyst rather than it's a it's a direct influence on me. Yeah.
So so next question is related to MTTS and your journey. So the first one from this part is, as I can say that mm India is blessed to have a teacher like you, as I already said this lines. So walking in your footprints, following your methodology of MTTS, a big mass of teachers and math researchers evolved in the country and outside the country. So how do you feel about this?
I'm justifiably proud about that, no doubt. Yeah, because many people, in the beginning, some other people used to say it's a Kumaresan's way. Okay, you're like, after that it became MTTS way. So that is a really proud moment. Okay, they started identifying this with MTTS rather than with an individual. Okay, yeah, I'm really proud because, in fact, I'm so proud that there are some participants to MTTS. After hearing my lecture, they come and tell me, "Sir, you're teaching like my teacher." On probing, you find out the
He
participant's
was
teacher was my student in the MTTS
MT.
R in the university. Yeah, so it's a really gratifying. A lot of people had understood. In fact, in this regard, I would like to recall what one of my friends, Professor Butt from Gujarat, he passed away about a couple of years ago. He told me after one meeting, he told me, Professor Kumaresan, forget about what you achieved in mathematics, MTTS, but what you achieved is you brought back the glory of teaching. You brought back the respect for teachers. Okay. So that way, I think I'm really proud of that thing. Many people have understood the reason why you want us to teach like this and how it makes an impact on students. This one I can perhaps uh, delve into. See, in the third year of MTTS, it was, as you know, MTTS was supported, funded by NBHM. So NBHM sent to senior people to see how the camps are running. So one of the senior person came, who is a total hardcore algebraist. Everything is like formal for him. Okay. So he came and sat in my lectures. And it was, first he was shocked. Is he teaching, doing anything? What is this? Is it mathematics, etc.? Then he went back. And after this, 10 years later, after his visit, in one of the meetings, in some international people were also there. At that day, he said, when Kumaresan started teaching, I said, how can anybody learn anything from him? So it's a waste of money, etc. Not, he didn't say waste of money, but yeah, I'm putting words in his mouth. But I saw that the way he was explaining, he made students think, and he got the proof from the students by asking questions. He never proved it. He got it. And I could see the students are very enthusiastic. They learned on their own. And that made a difference to impact. And then I tried to a small extent in my own course like that, asking like a Kumaresan. I found then the response from my audience was also much better. Okay. So in many ways, people who have seen our way of teaching, they get inspired. Okay. Sometimes they want to admit, sometimes they don't want, but it's all right. Okay. All of us have some little amount of ego.
Uh, so the next question is, it is heard that you mentioned MTTS as an experiment that worked and inspired. So, what was the need of this experiment and how it started?
Yeah, this is a, see, these questions I had already answered in Silver Jubilee time also perhaps in Kari leaves. Okay. So it may be a little repetition, but it's okay because the audience which you are targeting may be different. So I will elaborate on that. See, I was in TAFR, and that time I find that many of my youngst juniors came to me, irrespective of what they are working on, what kind of specialization they are in. Okay. Given that I was supposed to be some geometry analysis, but they used to come to me for anything. Okay. So, and when I was teaching, see, some of my peers in PAFR, I was giving night seminars to them. Those days, my inspiration was some other people who are so-called great teachers, but I don't call them nowadays as great teachers. I will call them as great lecturers. They explain everything line by line very clearly. You can see logically everything is correct. Okay. You think you understood the proof. Later, when you say thing, you don't remember anything. Okay. Like you, when you follow, you are following when they are doing that. After that, you don't understand what is the idea, why it was, etc. That doesn't matter. It's like saying, if I take you from one place to another place, very, very circuitous route, you may reach it, but you may not be able to go back on your own. Whereas if I showed you on the way, what are the highlights? You see, we started from here. This is the next landmark. Okay, this is the theater. And from there you go, then you find this high school. And then you go, you see a playground. Then you see a river pond. Then there is a bridge. Then we cross, there is a temple next to that. This is more than enough for me to retrace. Okay. So I changed my way of teaching. Then I found that it made a lot more impact on my audience, and they were more responsive, and they were ready to ask more questions also. Okay. And if I make some mistakes in the thing, if they think of something better, they were ready to interrupt and then tell me. Earlier, they will be passively listening. They think they understood. I also believed they understood, but nothing happened. Okay. So this happened in TFR. Then I switched to Bombay University. So at that time, again, I tried this kind of teaching to my students. And so there were that batch was a lot of good students. And they all were selected in very good institutes for PhD later or went out abroad. Okay. So that gave me a confidence. This way of teaching should be more popular and people should learn this rather than simply giving a beautiful, well-polished lecture. Okay. So at that time, there was some problem about, many younger faculty members across the country. They are very worried about the poor background of PhD students. So they thought of some kind of 1 year or one semester course, okay, going through the material, like what you see in AIFS nowadays. That's what they had actually in mind those days. Then I interrupted, that will not work. Okay. After MSc, we should start at BSc level. Okay. So they were not convinced. They wanted to start at MSc. So the first 2 years we had for essentially third year BSc, which is essentially going to first year MSc and MSc students. Then we slowly changed. Yeah, that's how the whole thing came. The reason is I found this way of teaching had a great impact. So I wanted to make it popular. But in the beginning, there are a lot of other people who are also involved. So I could not completely, work the way I wanted. Because it's a kind of, there is always a compromise. Okay. Those people are all good lecturers. So they come. So for 1 hour lectures, I have seen somebody who is preparing 2.5 hours. Okay. And giving a very beautiful polished lecture with a lot of drama on the stage. People loved it. Okay. Those things are there. Okay. So slowly, but they did not have the kind of stamina that they also were perhaps career oriented. So if they spend more time on MTT, then the research work will get affected. So they slowly withdrew, and then finally I took over completely. Of course, I was the proposer. In fact, the original proposal to NBHM was written by me. Yeah, right. Anything else? If you want more thing, because as I said, a lot of these things I had covered at least twice.
Even in one interview, MS Raghunathan sir said this, that everything was done alone by Kumaresan itself. I have nothing to do with the MTTS. It was his thought, it was his uh, means plan that this should be uh, means come into act for students. So I was just on the chair, and I liked that proposal what Kumaresan said. So I passed it by discussing with the team of NBHC.
No, yeah, that's true. I think I owe a lot to Raghunathan for this kind of support because he knows me, because he liked me from the beginning, even though we had a difference of opinion, very, very strong difference of opinion on various issues, but which I believe we had mutual respect for each other. Okay. And he also knows I am a very, very hardworking fellow and who is also taskmaster. The word taskmaster was, he is very fondly used about me every time. Anyway, so even when I gave the proposal, then he also told me. So in the proposal I read, okay, this is not a kind of a short-term proposal in the sense of for 3 years, 4 years, or some sort of thing. And okay, I have a very long-term vision. I want to change the way mathematics is taught in the country, and also reach out to remote places so that people will come up. Okay, and they get a good exposure to good mathematics. Okay. Mm. So I said it will may take decades, etc. So at that time, in one of our meetings, he told me, Kumaresan, I know you. I know how dedicated you are, committed you are. So you may be able to do. But I'm sorry if I don't want to hurt any of the people with me earlier. He asked him, do you think the other people with you, he even mentioned some name, are they going to be with you forever? I said, I don't care. In fact, I would want to do it on my own. Okay. Because then I can implement the way I want it to be taught. Because see, those days, again, the same thing. There will be lecture. Okay. Shoot, beautiful, prepared, well polished lecture, give it, and 4 or 5 problems given. In the afternoon, they discuss. Whereas, as you know, Mtts, there is no segregation. Instruction and problem sessions are not different. They are all one rolled into one. As soon as you introduce a concept or a theorem, immediately look at some problems and see so that you master what the concept is, how to use the results, what is the significance of the result by looking at some immediate problems. So that is our way of doing. Whereas they refuse to do that because their thing is well polished lecture should be dished out completely, right? So in fact, some of them had difficulty. If you interrupt, then they could not continue their lectures
Exactly.
also. Okay, these are the problems. So I said I'm all for it. If they leave, I will take over. Okay, which I did. It happened after 2 years.
So one famous quote that given by you, and I have heard this by Jayantan sir, and he was saying that it's easy to supply fish rather than uh, means better to teach fishing instead of supplying fish. So how do you comment on this thought again once
No, no,
again,
no.
sir?
This saying is not due to me. It is perhaps 3,000 year old due to the Chinese philosopher Confucius.
Okay.
Okay. He was the one who said, if you are hungry, if I give you fish, I take care of your hunger today. If you are hungry, if I teach you fishing, I take care of your hunger forever. I think this quote is due to Confucius. At least that's how I learned. Okay. And when I saw that, after first or second MTT, when I saw that, I loved it. This is exactly what I was trying to say. Because many students, for example, they find it, a well-polished lecture is easy because they can follow line by line. So they think, okay. But our kind of teaching, they have to struggle. They have to work with us. They have to begin to think. So it's like they have to fish. Okay. They are hungry. Okay. We don't give fish. We teach them to fish. Okay. So naturally, if you're too hungry, you don't like it, right? You want some fish quick. Right. Yeah. That quote is due to Confucius. Yes. And it was always in the MTTS souvenir. Nowadays, I don't know whether it appears. It used to be there at least 20, 25 years. Yeah.
So once I met Jayantan sir at Kerala School of Mathematics. I think in 2021 I went there. So we had discussion for long hours
Uh-huh.
about you and FBTS and everything that is done till date. So it was a great time with Jantan sir talking about you, especially about you. We had great time.
You know, Prof. Jayantan is one of my dearest friends. And I just can't thank him enough. You know, whenever, as you know, we had a lot of camps at very, very remote places, new, right? So whenever there is a new camp, I wanted some senior to be there for the entire full 4 weeks during summer, right? So without any hesitation, whenever I requested Professor Jayantan, he immediately agreed. Okay. And that is such a fantastic thing. And I just can't thank him enough. Yeah. In fact, Mtts survived due to people like him. And of course, a lot of other people. Okay. They should not feel offended. I didn't mention them, like Sultanam, Ajit, and so on and so forth, Baba. Okay. And a lot of, I may forget, like Upadhyaya from RIU, Mysore. It goes on, list goes on. Yeah.
So I was there in Kerala school for about 2 weeks, and I met many times Jayantan sir, and every time I met, we used to talk about MTTS. So that's the thing we enjoyed there, being for 2 weeks along with the Jayantan sir. I had great time. So though I have not met him before, uh,
Mm.
just I met him in online camp while mentoring, and again I met him in Kerala school. So it was a
Uh,
very happy
he's one of the
moment for
finest human beings.
truly, truly. So, so few more quotes that you have quoted. So I want that elaboration from you. Like, don't believe uh, everything that has been told to you. So, because it's traditional. So what do you talk about? What do you comment on this again? So you have commented several times on this, but I want this for my audience to listen from you.
Yeah, it's for your audience only. Yeah, right.
More
Otherwise, I would again
likely
say,
for school students, I would say.
yeah, exactly.
Yes, yes,
So, in
please.
fact, I'm going to say that, see, this attitude is from my childhood. Okay, even when my parents and elders, okay, as I said, I grew up in a village, right? I grew up in a village, and even in a village, it's highly traditional orthodox. So whatever elders says is the ultimate. Okay, but even in those days, okay, I will ask questions. I will ask why you can't do this, why you do this, etc. Or I won't even say why you can't do this. I will even ask why do you do this. Okay, that kind of question. I wanted to understand why certain things are done like that. And also they said in some situation they will be saying, okay, something happened like this, then I acted like this, etc. Then I will point out whether it's okay according to my limited knowledge, whether it's correct or wrong. Okay, okay. So the way I usually say is after I matured, about 40 or so, only I used this word to think back. I think I had a healthy irreverence for anything. Okay, people unnecessarily revere. Okay, they hold everything in reverence in our country. Okay, and that only is good for blind faith in religion. Okay, but you should have a healthy irreverence. That is, you don't disrespect. Okay, if somebody holds your view, your faith, no, yes, I agree with you, but it doesn't mean I should not ask about it. Okay, so as school children also, okay, whether it be parents, elders, or teachers, okay, or anybody, okay, don't offend them, but try to understand, ask questions. Don't believe just because they said it. Okay, you try to understand on your own, and without offending them, try to ask them questions. Okay, at a young age, it may be difficult, but try. Slowly, you will improve. Okay, I did that. Okay, my question will be direct upfront. Okay, people may even get offended. Even now, I do that sometimes. Okay, but those things are to have some kind of shock value, so that you you have one perspective. It's like suddenly you change to see a different perspective. So this kind of questions also are important. So I would say one should have a healthy irreverence. Understand what is reverence and irreverence. What do I mean by healthy irreverence? Healthy irreverence is that you respect the guy, but you don't not hold him in reverence. Okay, you subject him to your inquiry, to your inquisition. Do that. Okay, so later only I saw, I do not remember, or maybe after 6 7 years of MTTS, I found this quote by Gautam Buddha.
Yeah.
Then I thought that that exactly is what I have been saying, so I took it. So please, our country is full of such things. Okay, My request, in fact, scientific timber is being eroded last several years in our country. Okay, you have blind faith in everything. Okay, that is not good. Okay, the only way is don't challenge that guy. Okay, what you are saying is wrong, but you just try to see why what he is saying is right or wrong on your own. Okay, we may not be correct. Please accept that also. Okay, you may come to your conclusion. Your conclusion is based on whatever limited knowledge you have at that time. Okay, all of us have limited knowledge at any given time. Okay, our conclusion may not be the absolute truths either. Okay, but that doesn't prevent us from asking questions. Okay, that's it.
So one more famous quotes that you always used to say that uh, mistakes are the birthrights of every individual. So,
Yeah,
so
that happens a lot of people.
can you please explain this to my viewers from school
Yeah,
background? So
yeah,
once
exactly. In
again,
fact, Gopal, thank you very much. In fact, I'm glad that I accepted this because this is targeted. I believe that's a school student level, high school or whatever. I hope.
up to class 12.
Oh, beautiful. I think that's a area I should reach. Yeah. So can you repeat your question so that the audience will?
Yes. So my question is, you always used to say that mistakes are the birthright of every individual. So
Right.
can you please explain this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. The way I say is making mistake is my birthright. Okay. Yeah. Now, because very simple, I will elaborate to the students. Okay, for the sake of students. The first thing is think about anything, whatever you learn, not necessarily mathematics, anything. Okay. Have you learned without making any mistake? The very first attempt, sir, you got it correct. My standard example is as a child, okay, when I want to put my thumb to my thing, do you think I ever got it correctly? I will put it here, I'll put it here, then slowly it will roll like this, and finally I will put it. So I learned it by practice. When I wanted to walk, I will stand up, fall down. Oh. When I wanted to ride bicycle, I'll fall down. Okay, my kneecap will be broken perhaps. I still learn. When I want to go for swimming, I'll drink the dirty chlorinated water in which somebody might have you know what. Okay. I drank that water, but I still swim. Okay. So there is nothing in the world which you have learned without making a mistake. Believe me. Okay. Everything we made mistake, but then we learn. So it is unfortunately teachers try to tell you don't make mistakes. Okay. In a very, very threatening tone. And math teachers are the worst because they think in math, either something is right, something is wrong. There is nothing in between. Right. Therefore, they are so adamant, so are obsessed with being right all the time. Okay. Please don't believe that. Okay. When you want to learn anything, you learn everything by making attempts. While making attempts in the initial attempts, you will make mistakes. But what you do is you try to improve upon that. Sometimes this thing is repeatedly doing it improves, or you understand what went wrong and then correct it and then improve. So that's the reason why I say making mistakes is the birthright. That is, I'm not going out to make mistakes. You understand? I say that to make emphasis sake. Okay, but to emphasize the thing. But the real thing is, when you want to learn anything, be ready to make mistakes, but learn from that. Okay, that is the reason. And I'm very very what you call obsessed with this statement in every time, every class, everywhere. I repeat this because it has been kind of ingrained into us. Making mistakes is wrong, as it's a sin. Okay, by our teachers, especially math teachers. Please don't believe that. I'm sure Gopal doesn't do that.
No, no. I'm a participant from MTTS, so I'll follow the rules of MTTS.
Yeah, right.
So, so the next that I want to ask is, as you have written a lot of textbooks that have been appreciated and have been learned by a lot of students and even by a lot of teachers. And um, very common thing in all of this is the book which is written is actually the learner centric. So how this can be uh, possible for a writer to think for the students, think for the readers, and write in their way, and make it easy to the learners to understand the subject. So, as a writer, how you started thinking of writing in that way?
Yeah. So I will go against chronology. Okay. I will tell you, of late, last several, at least 2 decades, many of young people who want to become teachers, who are becoming teachers, okay, they consider me as a good teacher. So they ask me, so how do we teach? What should we have? Then I tell them very simple. Don't see when the moment you are a teacher or you are invited as a speaker, okay, the organizers and the audience believes that you are an expert in that. So there is no need for you to show that you are an expert. Okay, because that is one thing, because all of us have a little ego, so people want to show they are an expert. That's not needed. Once you are invited, that means they are accepted indirectly that you are an expert, right? So what you should have is what the audience or the students want to learn. Okay, have some kind of empathy. You put yourself in their shoe. For example, when I teach any difficult subject, what I do is, when I was a student, how much I struggle to understand. I'm an expert now, I can explain easily. That doesn't mean good. I put myself in the, when I was a student, let's say 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago, what I had that problem. Okay. Then I understand them. So the empathy develops. Okay. So that is the attitude you should have. So this one actually came out from my BSc test. You may remember I talked about analysis. So my students found that I was correcting my teachers in when he was making mistakes in analysis in the course. As but as I said, the entire Gyan was real analysis is a very difficult subject. Okay, nobody understands that. Okay, except there is only one professor who is a senior most. He understands analysis. Nobody else understands. Okay, whereas I am able to understand and correct. So a lot of my classmates wanted to learn from me. So when I started teaching them, I simply explained why it is logically. But later, only when they did not understand, when I found that they are still struggling, then I tried to find the real reason. Then I found there is some what I call two mistakes. One is they don't have the background. I am assuming that I'm using it, so they cannot follow it. And second thing is may have the background, but they have a mental block. They are thinking something else in their mind, so they are trying to understand it from their perspective, so they are unable to follow this logic. That is what I call mental block. So I try to point out by sometimes real life examples in my teachings. You may find often. Okay, so I try to explain that. Okay, this now, since because of this kind of teaching, when I write a book also, I keep that in mind. Okay, as a student, what kind of difficulties he will face in that particular subject. Okay, then that I take care of them. And second thing is, I want it to be personalized. That is, it's not like some textbook. I try to write in a way so that I'm talking to him at a conversational tone, so that when he reads, somehow subconsciously he thinks Kumaresan is sitting with him and explaining something to him. Okay, so these are the tricks which I use. Okay, in my book, so that the student, find somewhat student friendly, or they get something more.
Even I heard from one of the uh, mentor, means teacher from MTTS, and who is Professor Sukumar from IIT Hyderabad. He used to say that he read one book without seeing the book. He was
Yes.
just listening to the book and he completed the entire book. So this is next to impossible for a person to uh, complete a textbook without looking into the textbook, just listening from some others. And this is something very different that you have done for all the students by writing that kind of book. And Professor Sukumar told this, so I really
Yes.
amazed after listening to his
Yeah,
words.
yeah, but I think the credit goes to Sukumar also. Okay, it's not only to the author of the book, namely me. I
And
think he
and
also know. Yeah.
and even he said that every student is the co-author when he reads the book. So it's
That is a very beautiful way of saying, because he talked it from his personal experience, and that thought, if not in the same words, had been echoed by many readers of my book. What he used to say is, after reading some 15, 20, or 30, 40 pages, then later when something is explained, okay, then he will think of a question, and he will find the question. I also ask
yes.
the same question. Okay. And when I want to solve some problem also, I will start asking questions and solve. So he also started thinking. That is the reason why he said, okay, he also becomes a co-author of the book.
So he
It's
says
a very, very
every
perceptive
reader is
comment.
the co-author.
Yeah, it's a very perceptive comment. Okay. One has to understand what he tries to say.
Yes.
Yeah. Because you will think that you could also return the book after reading 40, 50 pages. You also begin to think like that. Then you know what Kumaresan is going to ask next, or what is going to prove this, or what kind of example you will think of. Taylor states a point. So that's why you become a co-author. Yes. It's a beautiful and very perceptive comment.
So a lot of co-authors with you, those who have got the privilege to write along with you or think along with you, they are truly blessed, and they even told this many times, like Professor Ajit, Professor Baba, and Sukumar sir, and Santanam sir. All of these people, they already used to say this. They told it. I mean, they said it many times. Uh, the way you you had, like, the book you are writing now, the material is ready long behind, like they say this. Maybe Kumaresan had the thought of writing this book long 10 years back, and now the book is coming after 10 years. So this is what they say many times.
Now, many books are much older than that also. For example, this functionalist book is 30-year old.
Like my age. So, so I have left with one or two questions, sir.
Yeah, sure.
We'll finish it. So, one important question that I want to ask you is how it felt when when your work was recognized by Indian National Science Academy, and when for the very first time a teacher's work was honored. Can you please share something about
Yeah, it was Indian Academy of Sciences. Yes.
it?
Oh no, I was happy, but I was not overly elated or anything. I was happy, at least somebody, for teacher, they have an award, they thought of me. Okay. Um, and I also had something much more personal about that. And when I went to receive the award, one of the people in the committee, they said, after we saw your case, we didn't want to look at any other case like that. Okay. That was somewhat, okay. I mean, it salvages my ego, perhaps. That's it. Okay. But it's okay. Yeah, I think the best recognition of my work is from my students. Okay. And I owe a lot to them. Okay. Even my continued good health is due to the well-wish like you and other students. Okay.
Yes,
Right.
yes. So, next question, but not the last. That is, can you can this methodology of MTTS uh, be useful for teachers in school to develop the cognitive growth in a school kid, as their grades and good scores are more seen more uh, rather than their understanding? Can MTTS be brought into school level to reduce the gap of understanding that they develop before they enter the college after the high school?
It's a very, very pertinent and topical question. I certainly believe it is. Okay. And the unfortunate thing is, as I do not know whether you participated in my assessment workshop.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
And our country is obsessed with the exams and tests. Okay. Now for everything they want to give a national level test. Okay. And that's the stupidest thing I can ever hear. Anyway, And so the emphasis on writing exams and scoring grades in the exam rather than understanding. Okay, the emphasis is at the wrong place. That is the real reason why even the top students who get an all India rank, this and that, okay, after the first few, all India rank, the first top 10, 15, they will be basically intelligent, but they may not know, but you are, they may be come up with the correct answer also, but they will not have a thing on their own, possibly. That's also right. But they have that thing. But others, they'll just know how to crack an exam. Instead, I think only if you understand the concept, then you will be able to come with highly innovative ideas, new inventions, new discoveries. Otherwise, you will do what we Indians are known for. We ourselves very proudly say, I don't know the correct pronunciation of the Hindi word, jugad.
Jugaad.
Yeah, Indian jugad. So we are famous only for that. Okay. You give anything, then I know how to modify this and that, and so that I get something. Okay, different and useful for Indian context or some sort of thing. Okay. But real kind of new discoveries, inventions, okay, in spite of millions of scientific postgraduate students in the country in science, our thing is very less. So it can be done at a very high school level, even at the elementary school level. See, at some point of time, especially in mathematics, one has to understand, and in some other context also I had explained, in mathematics, they think it's a very utilitarian subject, that is useful subject for human life. So the quick idea is to give you that the bag full of tricks, tools which you need to lead life, like arithmetic, some such small things they do. Okay, at least in the primary school level. Okay, so there you cannot say why I want to multiply this by this. See, one of the questions which I ask, how many of even the PhDs in mathematics have stopped to think the following question: when I multiply a 2-digit number by 3-digit number by 2-digit number, how do I multiply? I start from unit place on the second 2-digit. Okay. Whereas when I divide the 3-digit by 2-digit, I start from the highest 100th place. Okay. What is the reason? Okay. Now, I know for high school 3rd standard, 4th standard, I know how to do division, remainder, everything I know. Okay. At that point of time, I don't know to teach. Okay. It will only be confusing and they may not be mature enough. Okay. But later, because lot of thought has gone into decimal representation. So there is a reason why we did. Sometimes it should be explained. For example, I would even ask an MSc student asking me, sir, why product of two negative numbers is positive? Okay. It just shows inadequacy of our own teaching. Okay. The algebra teacher teaches someone ring theory. Okay. He will prove minus A into minus B equal to AB. But he doesn't stop for a minute to say this explains why product of two negative real numbers is positive. Okay. That's because the laws of arithmetic operation, okay, forces you to conclude. Okay. It's not on faith you are taking. This kind of thing. So this is at least slightly higher level, but what I'm saying is at every level. For example, I said about fraction. Okay. It's much easier to explain the meaning rather than keep on solving 200 problems or challenging problems, tripass problems, IIT, JEE kind of problems. Okay. Instead, make the concepts clear, give examples which make the concepts clear, he becomes comfortable. Okay, that's good enough for him to go further. Okay, so it can be done and selected topics like, the first thing, as I said, 3rd standard, usually fractions. And I think high school level, 6th, 7th standard, when you introduce algebra. Okay, these are the places. In BSc levels, usually real analysis. Okay, these are the places where the students have first difficulty if they cross over the earlier part. So at that time, you should at least stop for a while and explain the thing. And the one thing which you have to understand, you should not expect even the best student to understand what you are saying 100%. That's a mistake all teachers make, because their ego wants them to believe their teaching is so good, the best student will understood 100%. Okay, it never happens. Understanding is the student's. It's his own, not yours. However well you teach, he has to think on his own, then only he'll get it. So accept it. So what is necessary is 30, 40, 50% of what you are taught is he has understood. He will work on that. Okay. Sooner or later, maybe within a day, within a week, within a month, or within a year, or even after 5 years, he will realize that. That is very important. So you should not resist, okay, or you should not refrain from explaining this because thinking that he may not understand at this level. Okay. For example, I explain fractions, okay, to student, okay, the same to my grandson at the age of 6 or 7. He can do very well. But I explain how the fractions come, what happens, what are equivalent fractions, how do you do, why how to do it, all those things. Instead of simply saying 2 by 3 plus 5 by 7 equal to take the LCM, do this, do that, get the answer. It's an algorithm. So even at high school level, it can be taught. Similarly, higher secondary, when they come to, it can be taught. Like a calculus, like analytic geometry, coordinate geometry, one can explain. And instead of very challenging problem which you steal from Russian books or tripos exams, okay, and just change here and there and put it in various competitive exams. I don't want to name it because they will be liable. Okay. It's total waste of time. Make them understand the concepts so that they can come out something original later. Okay, rather than making them mechanical, good problem solvers. Yeah. Did I explain myself well, or I went a little overboard?
No, no, it was really helpful for all of us. So I request all the teachers to make note of all these points that Professor Kumaresan has discussed. And surely MTTS can be inculcated in the school curriculum or school background, school level teaching also. So we teachers have to teach in that way, the way MTTS is being taught in the college level and undergraduate level. So this can be also done at the school level, as professor is saying this. So we will try our level best, sir, for do this. And this year, I want to share this. This year, I have done such one small training camp for 5 days at my school, St. Joseph School, Kharagpur. But I did not release the video till now, so it has to be edited. A lot of sections are there, so it will take little time to release that video. But we have done this. We have done this. I gave
Wonderful.
the I gave the open opportunity to all the students of class 8, 9, 7, 8, 9, and 10 to discuss the any open topic, whatever they like. They can come up on the board and they can explain in their way. And for that, we will work more and more, and in times we will improve uh, by following MTTS and by your methodology.
It's
So,
wonderful to hear what your experiment. That's really great. Yeah,
so I named it like maths program in school level. I named it
great.
like this,
Okay, great.
a mathematics
I wish you
program
all
in
the
school level.
best. I
Thank
think
you.
a lot more people will join you as you go along.
Even I requested this for many teachers in my town who are in government schools.
Mhm.
Uh, so they are about to join, and we are in a plan. And I need special guidance from you. We'll have some meeting in time with those
Sure,
teachers.
sure, sure.
So I request you to keep this in a small time for us in
No, no,
future.
I'll be very willing to do any of this kind of thing. You just give me information well in advance, okay? I'll
Sure,
certainly try to find some time. I'll be
sure.
very glad to do that
Thank you so much.
because I cannot get directly into school education because of my advanced age, etc. But on the other hand, I would like to make some changes there. If I can inspire a lot of young teachers, okay, so that they can carry the torch forward like MTTS is happening now, I'll be happy. Okay, I will share my thoughts. Okay, I will also discuss with you, learn from you,
Sure.
and okay, we will come to a better solution. Sure.
Thank you so much for the uh, words that you said. So, one last thing that I want to share for viewers that Professor Kumaresan has a YouTube channel. We all know, but I think school students maybe they are unaware of this particular YouTube channel. So as you go to college level after your school, you can look up to this channel. You just type S Kumaresan and you'll find the channel. And there are a lot of videos, and that will continue for time forever, which will accelerate the minds of young students. So thank you, Professor Kumaresan, that you have made this channel, and it's really a great asset for everyone, and will continue to accelerate the minds forever. And thank you so much for creating this for us.
Thank you very much,
And
Gopal.
I truly appreciate everything that you have done for us, and still you're doing. Even after your retirement, you are connected to MTTS. You started MTTS, you are yet in MTTS, and continue to do this for all of us. And it's really been a great honor talking to you in such a small channel like my channel. And I'm blessed enough to have you today in my channel. Thank you so much, Professor Kumar. Once
Thank
again,
you very
thank you.
much. Yeah.
Thank you.